Amber founder Tiantian Kullander dies at 30.
Vyacheslav Taran has died. The helicopter he was traveling in crashed.
2 weeks ago, a big-name crypto developer who lived in PR was sounding the alarm on the CIA and the Mossad running a pedo elite cult in the Caribbean. Next day, Maker DAO co-founder Nikolai Mushegian dies at 29 in Puerto Rico.
In late 2022, 3 crypto billionaires died. Different countries, different causes, no official connections. But the timing was strange. The industries were completely the same, and what they were building was threatening something much bigger than just money. This isn't a conspiracy video, this is pattern analysis. And by the end of this video, you have to decide for yourself whether you think this is a coincidence or this was just a quiet shot in the big money war. I am Taco, enjoy the video. The 3 billionaires. This was the story of Tiantian Kullander. It was in Singapore, September 2022. Tiantian Kullander was only 30 years old, a co-founder in Amber Group, a crypto trading giant evaluated at about $3 billion. He was found dead in his apartment. The official explanation was he died in his sleep. No public illnesses, no warnings, and no follow-up questions. The only thing that Amber Group did was issue a short statement, and after that, it seemed like nothing happened afterwards. Almost like the story had just disappeared. And now to Vyacheslav Taran. Now we're in Monaco. It was in October 2022, only 6 weeks later after Tiantian's death. Vyacheslav was the founder of Libertex, a major global crypto trading platform. He died in a helicopter crash. And at that time, local press described the situation as unusual. The crash occurred during a period of escalating sanctions and financial scrutiny tied to Russian-linked wealth. And after that, no deeper public investigation followed. And just like that, the world had lost another billionaire. But unfortunately, Vyacheslav wasn't the last one. And now we go to Nikolai Mushegian. Now it's November 22, and we're in Puerto Rico. Nikolai was only 29 years old, a core contributor to MakerDAO, one of the most influential DeFi protocols in the whole world. He drowned. But here's the strange thing. Days before his death, he had posted online that he had believed that powerful institutions were targeting him. And people, when they saw this, had labeled him as crazy. These are unstable, they would say. And he died afterwards. 3 men, 3 deaths in 8 weeks, all billionaires. The pattern. At first glance, you would say that these deaths look unrelated at all. But patterns don't need identical causes or identical alignment. And for us to figure out why these billionaires' deaths were so strange, we need to list out a few things. First of all, they were all under 40, all extremely wealthy, all deeply embedded in cryptocurrency infrastructure. They all died suddenly and all within the same 2-month window. And most importantly, all were working on systems to remove dependence on the standard way of banking. These weren't memes, they weren't speculations, but they were building infrastructure for the way the world was going to work in the future. This isn't about crypto prices, but instead this is about control, following the money. To understand why this matters, we need to understand the timing. In 2022, global financial institutions were issuing warnings. The IMF warned against Bitcoin adoption. The World Bank echoed concerns about the adoption of cryptocurrencies, and governments were pushing regulations for cryptocurrencies at record speeds. And while all of this was happening, the World Economic Forum was promoting CBDCs. BlackRock started to partner up with governments, and JP Morgan was starting to test blockchain systems. And all of this at the time wasn't anti-crypto, but instead it was trying to control crypto. It needed permissions, it became centralized, and it became reversible. Now, contrast that with what these 3 men were building at the time. Amber Group was pioneering institutional capital flowing into decentralized markets. Libertex made a borderless trading infrastructure, and MakerDAO, a financial system without central banks at the helm. And this shows us that there were 2 visions for the future. One where we survive on permissions, and the other removed all the permissions entirely. When power feels threatened, it doesn't panic, but instead it stabilizes. The elite response. So, here's what didn't happen. There was no international investigation, there were no joint queries, no sustained media pressure. Each death was treated as isolated, clean, and contained. A random accident, you would say. And the strange thing is, markets barely reacted to these men's deaths. In fact, the project still continued, but leadership was changed. Instability in the businesses were still preserved. And this shows us how large systems absorb shocks with silence and not drama. But the fortunate thing is sometimes silence can be a bit more telling than noise. The cleanup theory. There's a concept in systems theory called neutralization. It doesn't imply violence and it doesn't imply coordination. It simply observes that disruptive nodes can disappear at an instant. Sometimes by regulations, buyouts, or burnout. And sometimes they can be through events that people can't seem to explain. And this is not an accusation to anyone in any way. Feel free to research these gentlemen's stories. But this is just a framework of what people think really happened to these men. Today, crypto looks tamed. EFTs are globally approved, more institutions have been onboarded, and CBDCs are quietly advancing. Simply put, the rebellion phase of cryptocurrency is over. And for the people that push for crypto's decentralization the most of those people are gone, silent or sidelined. And the funny thing is, history doesn't always record battles, but sometimes it does record the transitions. 3 men died in 8 weeks. No proof of coordination, no smoking guns, no eyewitnesses, just timing, incentives, and silence. Maybe it was a coincidence, we'll never know. Or maybe the control of money doesn't allow experiments. And I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I am here to ask you one question. When systems change, who usually disappears first? Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. And YouTube thinks you'll like my last video on how AI has killed coding. Go check it out in my channel. And God bless.